Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Supreme Court today in an interim order has asked Election Commission for following a few steps which so far it was shying away from. Now, what are those steps which the Election Commission needs to follow in the SIR case? Remember, this hearing has been on for the last 3 days, and now the matter has been posted for next Friday, that is 22nd of August. Now, in the interim order, which the court dictated today, the first step which the ECI has to follow is to list the names of 65 lakh voters whose names were deleted in from the 2025 list, but they are not included in the draft list. And they should be displayed on the district level websites. This is step number one. Then, second, it will also be displayed on the website of every district or electoral officer. The same shall also reveal the reason for non inclusion in the draft roll, and publicity should be given in the vernacular language newspapers, which has maximum circulation, and it must be broadcast and telecast on Doordarshan and other channels. The district election officer, if they have social media handles, should also display the notice there as well. Then the court has also said that the aggrieved persons may submit their claims along with a copy of their Aadhaar cards. Now, remember, this whole hangama about the Aadhaar cards, whether it should be accepted or not. Today, finally, Justice Surikant said that Aadhaar can be accepted and it should be accepted. In addition to this, the booth wise list of 65 lakh voters shall also be displayed on the notice board of all the panchayat bhavans and the block development and panchayat offices, so that people have manual access to the list. So this is the legal part of the SIR, what has happened today in its interim order. On the other hand, there's a whole lot of politics happening on the vote chori campaign as well. And now Congress has stepped up its vote chori campaign, the vote theft campaign, and they are trying to intensify. What the sources have been telling us is that apparently now Rahul Gandhi and his team will investigate 70 Lok Sabha constituencies. This is what we are getting to know, and that too is going to happen probably in a phased manner. So, this particular interim order of the Supreme Court, is it a win-win situation for the petitioners? And how do we see this vote theft campaign now evolving from here on? So we'll try and discuss all of this. Joining me is Advocate Neha Rathi. She's the counsel for the ADR, and also Mahua Moitra in the SIR case. She's just returned from the court. Thank you so much, Neha, for joining. We have transparency activist Anjali Bharadwaj. Thank you so much, Anjali, for joining. And we have Puneet Nicholas Yadav, political editor of the Federal. Thank you so much, Puneet. And I'll begin with Neha. Neha, what does this order, the interim order, mean in legal terms? Because what we do understand is that so far 65 lakh voters' names were deleted, and ECI just a few days back said that we are not bound by any law to publish those names and also give the reasons. So just the opposite has happened today. The other thing is that Aadhaar was not acceptable so far, and now the court has directed the Aadhaar to be accepted. So is it a win-win situation for the petitioners? Is it some kind of a relief, or it is just a carrot which the court has handed out, but we will wait for something more dangerous or something more, I don't know how to put it, but something bigger might be there in the order, which will come later.
Hi Nilu, I think it's a significant victory. It is also a big setback for Election Commission, which was hell bent on denying acceptance of Aadhaar, which had said very categorically that there is no statutory requirement for us to give the names of deleted people in the public. So the Supreme Court, having directed, not only will you give the list of 65 lakh deleted in public, on website, in printed form, at the BDO offices, but also with the reasons. They need to give the reason why you have deleted, so that cross-checking on the ground can take place. With regard to Aadhaar, it's a big victory because a large number of percentage of population does have Aadhaar. So we are very happy with that. We knew, because see, 2.5 days they had heard it, but we knew that eventually at this state Supreme Court is only going to give an interim order. They are not going to scrap the exercise overall, which was actually our prayer initially. But we had filed an application seeking these things, which have been ordered today. So yes, we are very happy. And there's one more thing, that the court has specifically said that the matter is under monitoring with it now. So on Friday, whatever material comes out of the lists, there'll be analysts, absolutely analysis will take place of the names, reasons, everything, and all that will be brought to the notice of the Supreme Court by us on Friday.
So I'll come to Anjali now. Anjali, how do you see this order, the interim order? Do you see this as some kind of a breather, especially for the voters who are running helter skelter to get their names? But are you still hopeful that by putting the list of the names which have been struck off the voter list, would their names be finally included? Because that is the end goal, that if the list is published, everything is done very transparently, because there was a lot of focus today on the transparency. Even Justice Surikant mentioned the same thing. Justice Bakshi also said the same thing. But then will it ensure that finally the names of the voters which have been deleted will be included in the voter list?
Yeah, Nilu, first of all, I think Neha and other lawyers are doing a brilliant job in the Supreme Court, bringing to light the kinds of problems that people are facing with this entire SIR exercise. I think today was a very significant day in terms of the court taking note of a basic violation of fundamental rights that are happening. One of the things that the court took notice of, took cognizance of, was the violation of the basic and fundamental right to information. Now, like you said, this is a much larger exercise. The SIR itself has not been, there's no stay on it. The exercise is going to go on. The court is saying, look, we are going to hear the matter again. The Election Commission is trying to tell the court that please hear it as late as possible, because by that time, we are going to be towards the end of August. But what this is very useful for is that this is the first step where people at least will be able to know whether their names are being deleted and what are the reasons for the deletion of their names. I think for any audit exercise, for any exercise to ensure that nobody is left out, you cannot begin that exercise without information. So we've always maintained that transparency in itself might not automatically resolve a problem, but without transparency, we have no hope of resolving a problem like this. So I think today's order, we are still awaiting the order. I don't think the order is out yet. Today's the way the hearing went, and I'm hoping that the order today will ensure that the list of all the 65 lakh names which have not been included in the Bihar SIR draft roll is going to be put online along with the reasons. The searchability function was limited by the court to saying that if you want to search the list, then you will have to put in your epic number and search the list. We had hoped that the court will also say that the list will be fully searchable. But even so, I think this is a very significant order. The court has also said that at a decentralized level, lists have to be physically put up so that anyone who doesn't have access to the internet, to the website, can actually go very close to their house at their panchayat level and check whether their name is included or it is deleted, and what are the reasons for deletion. So I think that it's a very significant order, and we'll have to see how it's implemented. Unfortunately, even when the Supreme Court has given good directions in the past, the Election Commission has not been implementing those orders in letter and spirit. We hope that they do it this time.
Okay, I'll come to Puneet now. Puneet, what is the sense you make of today's order? And then, of course, I'll come to the questions related to the vote theft campaign as well. But how do you see this interim order panning out?
Well, certainly it's a much better order, much more lucid order, clear order than the ones that came on in this matter previously. And to that limited extent, I would say, that it is a good order in the case. Whether the EC implements it in toto, we'll have to wait and see on the 22nd when, the case is taken up again, and how the court reacts to whatever has gone on from today to the 22nd. Uh, of course, whenever a good judgment comes from the Supreme Court, it's natural for everyone to suddenly be very happy that the court has, unfortunately, that's what we've been reduced to now, to be happy that the court has done what it should have done in the very first place,
Absolutely.
perhaps on the very first hearing. But nonetheless, this was a judgment that, with regard to Aadhaar, for instance, uh, a clearer judgment could have come on, or order could have come on the very first hearing. There was no reason to drag this matter on for almost 3 weeks because of a rather timid order that the court gave, initially. So that's as far as the order is concerned. The issue now also is that for the next 1 week, first let us wait and see, with what speed does the election commission actually put out this data, because
So
for
you
all
have
you know, they might.
you have doubts about the implementation, whether election commission will stick to the
Well, I
directions and
always have doubts when it comes to the election commission. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
but let's see, because there are 65 lakh names that have to be put out on at various levels, because the order, as I said, is a very clear order. You have to put it out at the level of the district election office, the BLO office, the panchayat, the notice boards, all of that. Now, for all the election commission might spend the next day or two trying to say, we're getting the systems in place,
Yes.
to carry out that exercise. So we'll have to wait and see
Right.
how quick they
Neha
are
wants.
with
I think
putting
Neha
that out.
raised
Yeah,
her hand.
sure.
Yeah, Neha, go ahead. Unmute yourself. Neha, you're muted. Yes.
So I don't think. See, senior advocate Dwivedi asked for 48 hours. Now the thing is that it has also been their argument that they have already supplied the lists to the BLAs of political parties. So the list is there. We already know, they know the bifurcation. They know 22 lakh dead as per them. They know 35 lakh around have, as per them again, migrated, or some people untraceable, etc. So it is just a matter of putting that in a digitized format and putting it out. So they would be answerable on Friday if they don't do it. The directions are very categorical. So my feeling is that they would have to. There's no getting around.
No, but Neha, there is a deadline to it. I think I read it somewhere. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Is it not Tuesday by when they have to finish doing all this?
Yes, because earlier they said 48 hours, then they said because we'll have to print it and all, it'll take us 3 to 4 days. We
Okay.
agreed, okay, it'll take you 3 to 4 days. Okay, fine, you take that time, but at least put it out so that it can be analyzed and it should be with reasons and in a searchable format. So, yes.
Right. But Neha, another thing, and then I'll go back to Puneet, that what are the challenges which you fear, now from here on? Okay, Supreme Court has given an interim order. They've spelled out certain steps which now the ECI needs to follow. But what happens if they don't follow, and then they come back with some reason, and then again trying to convince a court that look, we were helpless? What happens then? And if Puneet is right, I mean, you have to doubt because there are many things which they haven't done so far.
Absolutely. Election Commission's attitude and stand over the past, in this case also, and in some other case like Form 17C and all, we have seen they have not stuck to what they have said. They have given absolutely absurd reasoning for not, making things transparent. But here, the only thing is that they court did give them a leeway that in case you feel there is absolutely something you are stuck with, you cannot do, then you have to come back to us. Then we'll see as it goes. As of now, there's absolutely no reason, according to me, because they have made it very clear. In fact, they've put it on their affidavit that they have given it to all political parties, and all political parties have, signed a receiving to it. So you have the data now. It's, which we were by the way, objecting to. Our argument was that no, the data has not been given to all political parties. So because we have on record BLA saying that no, the data is not with them. So this is something we'll have to see as it goes. If they come up with such a thing, it's unlikely, according to me.
Okay, okay. Yes, Puneet, back to you. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, so
Now,
I agree with what you know Neha is saying, that and this is what my sources across the opposition parties in Bihar have told me, that it's not as if all their BLAs have these lists readily available with them. So I think what this order will perhaps do unwittingly so is it puts sort of greater pressure on the political parties also, which I think is a good thing in a way, for greater rigor at the grassroots to ensure that what they have been fearing does not happen. Which is mass exclusion of their voters or voters in general. That is something that one will have to hope for when it comes to how the opposition gets its act together at the grassroots. See, the other thing also is, as far as voters who've been deleted, 65 lakh is a very huge number. And we've seen over the course of this case's hearing itself of how people have been declared dead, and they've even turned up in court or at Rahul Gandhi's residence. So now the thing is, while a lot of them may still be there in Bihar at this point, there may still be a sizable number of people who may not be present in Bihar, who may not be able to check their names, who may not have the wherewithal to go through this process of getting their names added again. What happens to them? You can't expect them, see, for a state that has a huge migrant population. It's an issue that's been brought up again and again in this case's hearing. uh, do you expect those people to be sitting there for the next 3 months till the time this entire exercise is over? From the month of from the 1st of July when it started to the date of polling. You know, So, and which is why I said that the court at the very first few hearings should have been much more stern than it was. So let's wait and see. I mean, it's a week's time. One can only hope that what the order says actually ends up helping people and not creating more trouble, and is not exploited by the election commission, or twisted around by the election commission. Uh,
right.
I would not want to, as of now, start any kind of celebrations of a kind of setback and all of that for these.
Right, but Anjali, I was interviewing on this very platform former CEC OP Rawat, where he said that this kind of an SIR is simply unacceptable just at the 11th hour when you're about to have elections. And he said this on our platform last evening. Now, even the opposition parties were demanding a rollback, that please withdraw SIR. This is what all the, I think Puneet would be able to correct me if I'm wrong. Puneet, they were demanding a rollback of SIR, right? All the opposition parties, the India Alliance.
See, their argument from the beginning was that, look, we are not against the exercise. All we
Right.
want is that you do this exercise after the elections are over. Why
Elections.
this staring hurry that, with 3 months to go or 4 months to go to the polls, an exercise that previously had taken a full year, in 2003 when this SIR in Bihar, I'm not giving the example of other states, but in Bihar when the SIR in 2003 happened, or the I mean, back then they didn't call it the SIR, it was just intensive revision. When that happened, there was one whole year to go for the next Lok Sabha election, 2 years to go for the next assembly election. You had ample time for the process to be conducted. And might I add, men of greater integrity conducting it. Mr. KJ Rao, who was one of the officers back then, I knew him very well, uh, did a phenomenal job when it came to the intensive revision in 2003. So, the same cannot be said of the current lot of people running these. You know, so that was the demand of the opposition, that you wait till let the elections get over. You already have had You had the Lok Sabha elections a year back based on the same roles. Uh, your 2026, the summary revision that's been published has all these names. So what is the, tearing hurry for this? But unfortunately, that's an argument that didn't cut ice.
Anjali, the question which I was wanting to ask you was that this the manner in which it has hastily been imposed on the people of Bihar. Of course, nobody was against SIR, but doing it at the 11th hour, court has not actually taken into cognizance that aspect, that at the 11th hour you should not be indulging in an exercise like this. So is that a big shortfall somewhere as far as the courts are concerned, because they haven't considered this aspect at all, that why impose SIR on Bihar when there's so little time and undergoing such a massive exercise?
Yeah, actually, Neelu, there are two or three things. One is that an exercise like this seems to be quite unprecedented. We've seen many elections and many revisions in the past, but I don't think in any revision anybody remembers being asked for proof of citizenship by the Election Commission of India. So, at least from our point of view, this is an unprecedented exercise. The Election Commission, of course, said, no, no, this is not unprecedented. This was done in Bihar in 2003. We've been asking them to share with us the guidelines for 2003 to prove what they're saying and tell us and prove to us that they're wrong. The Election Commission, till date, has not been able to share the guidelines of 2003 with us. So we are going to assume that this is an exercise which is unprecedented. So A, it's an unprecedented exercise. B, in this exercise, you're asking every citizen, and mind you, they're saying this is not only going to be limited to Bihar, this is going to happen in the entire country. You're going to ask nearly 100 crore people of this country to prove their citizenship. And under the Citizenship Act, how do you prove your citizenship? Either you are able to show your place and date of birth by saying, this is my birth certificate, this is my parents' birth certificate, and or this is my passport. Most people in this country don't have birth certificates and passports. So this is an unimaginable exercise so far. Secondly, the Election Commission decides to do this exercise in the whole country, but decides to start it from poll bound Bihar, where we know that elections are going to start in November. There's going to be massive anxiety if people are disenfranchised. They will not be able to exercise their right to vote. Now, even our demand on transparency has only been part met today. The demand on transparency was much larger. It was to say that, and even if the Election Commission has the right to do an SIR of this nature, we are not denying the fact that the Election Commission has certain plenary powers. We are not denying the fact that the Election Commission has the obligation to purify and verify voter lists. But if the Election Commission has to undertake an exercise of this scale and nature, how can they do it without even informing the people of the country why they are doing it? For them to undertake this exercise, and that also in such a hurry, I mean, one has to be able to prove to people that, look, we did an exercise where we found out that our electoral lists are completely out of line. We have so many people who are enrolled as who should not be there because they're not citizens, or they're not 18, or whatever they might they're dead. And this is the proof, without any proper cogent reasons to do an exercise like this, and without telling us why starting from Bihar, when there is, in the past, always the Election Commission has said that if a state is poll bound, we will not undertake an exercise. Let the elections happen, we'll do it after that. What is
Yes.
so special this time? Has something been discovered? And in their affidavit, and Neha will correct me if I'm wrong, in their affidavit, they have said that there is an independent appraisal that they did, on the basis of which they have decided to undertake this exercise. Till date, they have not given that independent appraisal to anybody. So, what we are seeing today in the court is also uh, certain part of the demand even for transparency which is being addressed, the entire demand for transparency. I mean, look, the election commission has a constitutional obligation to do free and fair elections. You have nothing to fall on but the trust of the people. How do you win electoral trust? The only way that can happen, you can build people's trust, is if you are transparent. You at all points in time take people along, not when you do secret exercises like this, that on the 24th you bring out an order saying 25th onwards we are starting this massive exercise in the country starting from Bihar. You don't do it without any consultation with any stakeholder. ठीक है, आप you don't talk to citizens. What about political parties? They are to fight elections. You are after all saying their BLAs are so important. Now they will be given information, not citizens. I mean, but you're not going to talk to them. No consultation. We filed RTI application saying please share with us the consultations. No news so far. We've asked for guidelines. The court is in repeatedly, affidavits are being filed in the court, interventions are being filed in the court by Neha and others saying give us all of this information. They've not given it. So today the court has at least said that don't go about not including people or deleting their names without full transparency, which basically means their names and the reasons why you are doing it.
Right. Okay, so Neha, I'll come to you and then I'll go for the final question to Puneet on this vote theft campaign of Congress. So, are we in a position to say that election commission so far, which was looking so inflexible, has now been forced by the Supreme Court to, at least bend a little?
Absolutely. In counter after counter, in all of their replies, additional affidavits, they did not budge an inch, despite the court repeatedly nudging them, one constitutional authority to the other. They didn't want to initially direct. They said it in a soft manner. Many of us were also critical of that because of the stakes involved. But either way, election commission was very very clear. We are not even going to tell people whose names are getting deleted that okay, hey, you go ahead and do something about it. What is this secrecy all about? So today it was very clear. In fact, Justice Surikant also mentioned some Purnima Devi, he just gave a random example. Purnima Devi should know that her name is not there. At least people of the country deserve, to know that my name is not there. I'm not going. And I was just giving an example, even if it was a Supreme Court Bar Association election, which is a very small thing. And if lawyers' names would have been cut, there would have been such hangama in the Supreme Court. And here we are talking about, elections, such important, the most important elections. One thing that every Indian has is the right to vote. And there you're taking it away in such a manner without any need at all. The law is very clear. You can do a special revision for a constituency or a part of it. It narrows it down and it makes very clear that for reasons to be given, there is no reason. The reasons they are given are hogwash. It's just migration, random urbanization. What is this? So what was your special summary revision for then? What were you so gloating about it then in January, that we have done a special summary revision? So
Yes.
So definitely it's a positive step. Our fight does not end here. Our fight for transparency, our fight for electoral reforms continues. Our fight against this SIR process in this manner, against such an blatantly unacceptable, this kind of an enumeration form which has no basis under the law, under the statutes, under the constitution, under the rules. It's just a figment of somebody at ECI's imagination that this will solve all problems. The list of 11 has no basis to it. The list of these 11 documents, there is no. In fact, their affidavit even proves that they had done no prior analysis, prior exercise with regard to the coverage of these 11 documents. How many people have it? In fact, all the exercise they did was for the purpose of filing the counter so that they are able to answer to the court. So the dates on all their requisitions, which they asked different departments, is of July, and the exercise started on 24th June. So
Right.
no preparatory period. So this is
But are you
absolutely.
expecting the final order, Neha? Are you expecting the final order on 22nd?
No. I think it will still remain pending.
Okay, so how much time are we left with? 1st of September, they have to put up the final list.
It's
And
30th September. 30th September.
30th September. Okay,
Yes.
30th September.
That's
Even
right.
then, even if it is on 30th September, how much time is left? And 64 lakh voter names deleted. Will they be able to include all those names within that period?
See, they will have to. They are answerable now. So I'm not saying all those names, but of course, those who are dead go out. But other people, of course, we are obviously challenging this arbitrary 2003 cutoff. There's no random. There's no reason. That way, you could have 1967 also. There's no reason why 2003, other than the fact that okay, we conducted last SIR there. Then what were your summary revisions for? And after digitization, their own manual says that we generally do not conduct de novo
But we
exercise
can
unless there is
expect a
specific
final
reason.
order. But we do expect a final order before 30th of September, right? In any case.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, it
All
would
right.
anyway be
Right.
infructuous.
Now, amidst this SIR
But
conundrum,
it's still,
also,
it's still the issue of Bengal still remains. So,
uh,
you know,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But in the middle of all this conundrum around the SIR has been the big expose of Rahul Gandhi. And Puneet, I wanted to talk to you before I end the program. That yesterday there was a closed door meeting which happened between Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge, where apparently they decided on stepping up this vote theft campaign and also extending it to 70 Lok Sabha constituencies. What are the details? I mean, how are they going to? If you can share some details, if you have, that how will they step up the campaign? Will it be phase wise? Any details you have as of now?
Well, you see, Neelu, this has been a, a topic of discussion in the Congress and the wider India bloc for some time now. There have been several discussions, you know, over phone, in, India bloc meetings, all of that among the leaders. From what I understand, the yesterday or the day before, there was a meeting of the Congress general secretaries, state in charges, and heads of various frontal organizations, which Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi both presided over. And one of the decisions that was taken was that about 23 to 24 seats, that's the figure I have, where the Congress lost by less than 50,000 votes in the Lok Sabha elections. So, like, for instance, when Rahul spoke of the central Bangalore seat, the Mahadevapura assembly segment on the 7th of August, that's a constituency that the Congress had lost by 32,707 votes. So likewise, there are other constituencies ranging, where the Congress lost the election ranging from 1,618 votes to about 55,000 votes. Say, Bikaner in Rajasthan, the Congress lost by about 55,000 votes. Alwar, they lost by about 49,000 votes. Bansgaon in Uttar Pradesh, they lost by about 4,000 votes. So these constituencies, the team of the of Congress volunteers who've been analyzing these electoral rolls will go through. I'm told at least three constituencies from Rajasthan. The work has already begun: Kota, Alwar, and Jaipur Rural, and they will look into this. See, uh, now that this entire exercise, and I believe the allies will also do a similar exercise, so that perhaps pushes the number up to about 70 seats,
Okay.
because that's what the opposition thinks. The additional seats that they could have won in the Lok Sabha elections, which was stolen, as Rahul said, from them. So Akhilesh has been talking about several other seats in UP. In fact, even on the Congress's own list of 24, 23, 24 seats, 6 of those seats are from Uttar Pradesh. I have that list with me, but there are 6 seats that they are looking into in Uttar Pradesh itself. Then there are constituencies in Bangalore, in Maharashtra, in Telangana, in Chhattisgarh, the Kanker seat, for example, where they lost by about 1,600 votes. So those are all seats. Now the point here is, let's not confuse what is before the Supreme Court in terms of the SIR cases with what the Congress is talking about, because what the Congress and the opposition are talking about, aside from the SIR, is a much larger issue. It includes all three issues of voter suppression, voter deletion, and voter addition, which, as of now, as things stand with the SIR cases at this point, is not the case. So far, in terms of the SIR, we're only talking of voter deletion. Okay, so what the opposition has in terms of its task ahead is a much bigger task, which will require a lot more work and a lot more rigor, a lot more resources to actually come up with whatever they want to, in terms of their findings. And yes, they at least with the Congress, they've decided that instead of carrying out this entire exercise and then coming up with one big expose, they would want to do it in a staggered way. Maybe like Mahadevapura on the 7th of August, as Rahul did his press conference. There may be another press conference in a month or two, or maybe after the Bihar elections on another constituency. Then, a month or two later on another constituency, so that, this issue does not die down in public, consciousness, because that's something that again has happened time and again with issues that the opposition has raised, because they've raised something, then 2 weeks or a month later the government has come up with something to divert attention from it, and the entire momentum that the campaign gains is lost. So they would want to stagger it out so that it remains fresh. And I think they've in a way at least succeeded in telling the voters of the country that there are deep, deep flaws in the current electoral system that you need to be aware of. You need to be aware of the fact that your votes are that your right to vote is either being denied or perhaps even being exercised by somebody else. With duplication and all of that. And you need to be more careful, and as does the opposition. So there are a lot of things. On the 17th of August, Rahul and Tejashwi will start their Bihar Voter Adhikar Yatra, which is going to be a 13-day yatra spread across 1,300 kilometers, where they'll talk about not just the SIR, but also, the other issues of voter suppression and voter addition. So they do plan to intensify this further.
All right, so we'll have to wait and see how this Vote Adhikar Yatra pans out, and also what Supreme Court has to say on 22nd of August when the matter is posted again for next week. But we'll have to end it here. Thank you so much, Anjali Bharadwaj, Neha Rathi, Puneet. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.